Hey friends, welcome to week 8. I'm excited to share this material with you in this time, and I just want to tell you a little bit about how y'all want you to think about it. As we sort of turn the corner and we're sort of laying more and more of the groundwork of emerging adulthood, of spirituality, and the different things that we've done, we're starting to think about like how do we think about support for emerging adults, right? Something that I've been beginning to share with many of you is just this idea that it's really easy to raise the problems, but how do we start to think about the solutions and where do we look for them? And so this week, there's some different looks that I want to give you, and I hope it might give you some insights as you start to think about your final papers as to not only what the problem is, but what are some ways that we can think about the solution. So in the first lecture, it's new material that's hot off the press about how emerging adults perceive awareness and support from faith communities that work with them as they go through transitions, right? Really interesting to think about. Like, how do we know if emerging adults feel that anybody's aware or supportive of what they're going through? That seems to be really, really important. And so some of our research dug into that, and I think you're going to find that first lecture really, really great. Secondly, we know through the work that we've been looking at this quarter that emerging adults, as we study them, it's not just about them, that they are also connected with all types of relationships, including their relationships with their parents. I'm finding more and more that as I talk with older adults, that they are deeply concerned about their children who are emerging adults or their grandchildren who are emerging adults. And we know that that relationship is changing, right? Like they have to think about what it means to be a parent or a grandparent differently because the lives of their kids are different, right? You see how that all works. And so I want to take some time to just share some of the work that my colleague Kara Powell and I have done through a book that we wrote called Growing With. I hope that you find that really, really helpful. I'm having you read a chapter on that, but I think there's some great things for you to think about as you think about how you help and work with parents. And some of you, that might be a really important final paper topic as well. And so I want to give you that. Thirdly, I want to talk a little bit about some trends from some of the other pieces that I'm having you read for this quarter. And I'm going to want to dip in a little bit into this idea of the nuns. There's a lot to talk about with that. I want to point you to a researcher named Ryan Burge, who is a great guy that's doing some really, really important work on tracking the nuns. And I think this lecture will just give you an introduction into some of his work. And I really encourage you to keep following him as you go. And then there's also a bonus video. Rachel, who is doing some great stuff with us in our class, also is just a fantastic writer. And she's got some great tips for how to think about writing. She's helped me as a writer, and I think she can help you. So for those of you that are looking for some extra help, some guidance, in what good writing is, please check that video out as well. And I think that you're going to find that really, really important. Finally, this is going to be our last week of our peer interaction groups. I'm kind of sad about that. I've really, really enjoyed it, but I got great news for you. As I mentioned last week, Rachel is going to be offering 2 bonus gatherings in week 9 and week 10 to talk about this idea of emerging adulthood and discernment. I think that this will be something that will be great for your own discernment, but perhaps as you think about how you can help emerging adults discern their identity, belonging, purpose, working through these transitions, that could be really great as well. So I'll have that information in there for you in weeks 9 and 10, but I want you to think about that and keep that in mind. And it'll be scheduled at the same time that we've had our webinar discussions on Thursdays at 1. So hopefully that will work for some of you. If it doesn't work for you, Rachel has also offered to pick another time where others of you can gather as well. So take advantage of this opportunity. I know we're careening toward the end of the quarter, but these are the opportunities we want to offer to you because we think it's really, really great. So anyway, I hope that you're doing well. I wish you all the best. And I'm grateful for the heart and the soul that you are putting in to this class. I truly believe that the work that we do is not just something that ends up on the shelf later, that this is ways that we can actually bring about change and redemption and life and hope in and through the work that you do. I've already seen it. I mean, in the work that you did with the interviews and everything else. So know that this work matters and we're cheering you on. And so this week, may you know God's grace. and peace.